Hey everyone, it's your boy Big L. Thank you so much for checking out the show. I want to do something a little bit different today. I do not claim to be a political analyst at all, although it does interest me. A lot of politics, geopolitics, etc. do interest me. I do try to read up on a little bit of that, and I do follow some people on the interwebs, right? So this is a guy on the in the middle here, right between myself and the young lady Tara Setmayer. His name is Malcolm Nance. And so here's his bio here. This is from uh, Wikipedia. American author, media pundit, former United States Navy senior chief petty officer, specializing in naval cryptology. Nance is an intelligence and foreign policy analyst who frequently discusses the history, personalities, and organization of jihadi radicalization and Al Qaeda in the Islamic State of Iraq and Levant, Southwest Asia and African terror groups, as well as counterinsurgency and asymmetric warfare. He has learned Arabic and is an active in the field of national security policy, particularly in anti and counterintelligence and terrorism intelligence, terrorist strategy and tactics, torture, and counter ideology and combating Islamic extremism. Into 2016, he published the book Defeating ISIS: Who They Are, Why They Are, How They Fight, What They Believe, and published The Plot to Hack America that same year. He's got a couple other books in the plot to do this, that, and the other. I do have them on my Kindle. I'm not going to pull them up right now, but he has a number of other books that I think that are worth reading. So we're going to listen to him and Miss Tara Setmayer discuss, does Trump think accusing Obama of treason will work? And this kind of popped up on my screen here. I said, let me take a listen to this. 44 minutes. I don't know if we'll do the whole thing. I am claiming fair use. And I am trying to do this, trying to be analytical in this, right? As an academic. So, all right, we'll see how it goes here.
Philosopher king Curtis
Yarvin.
Who yesterday said billionaires in America aren't real billionaires. They are billionaire N-words because I shit
What?
you not. I shit you not.
Oh
I have
my
said on
God.
the record, Curtis Yarvin is the most dangerous ideological character since Osama bin Laden.
Him saying that America needs to get over their dictator phobia and that
Right.
people who don't contribute enough to society, we could just turn them into biofuel.
Right.
Which he did say, and the idea that democracy is like, we don't want that. We should have network states where these tech bro kings basically rule each one of these network states, we don't have democracy and freedom anymore. I thought that was bad enough. But this guy, you're right, he's flown under the radar.
If you have paid attention to that, there is a lot more people talking about the elimination of democracy and going to a technocratic, feudal society, where you just live under the control of other people. That is a growing phenomenon. It's not catching a lot of steam, but it is out there. It is out there
for a long time. And this is a guy that Peter Thiel said was his political guru.
Good God.
This is Black Man Spy.
Hi, I'm Malcolm Nance, and welcome to this week's episode of Black Man Spy. If you're listening, you can't see that I am sitting in what appears to be the masterpiece theater set of Black Man Spy. That's because I'm in a beautiful wingback chair in front of a marble fireplace, and with beautiful paintings adorned all around me, because I'm in Washington, D.C., and I am here for an event with the International Spy Museum. More about that later. But today we are interviewing Tara Setmayer. She is the resident scholar at the University of Virginia Center for Politics. She regularly appears as an on-air commentator on MSNBC, which is where I know her from, and is co-founder and CEO of the Seneca Project. It is a bipartisan super PAC led by women dedicated to mobilizing women voters in key swing states. We have an exciting interview, so let's move on and hear what Tara Setmayer has to say about Jeffrey Epstein, women, and national security. Every time Donald Trump opens his mouth, he goes deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole, and the nuances of the relationship are coming to the front. Now, why are we interested in this on the Black Man Spy podcast? Well, it's as simple as this. These things are now having national security impacts, direct impacts. We have the director of national intelligence literally claiming that a former president of the United States committed treason, and that She found evidence in the intelligence community showing that Barack Obama, by her reading of it, Tulsi Gabbard's reading of it, supposedly directed the intelligence community to go back and rewrite a single report that showed that the Russians did not hack the 2016 election, and it didn't have any impact. The funny thing about it is, and I'm going to start with this premise. When I taught at the Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape School, which is our secret school for how to behave in front of the enemy, one of the things that we teach, also operationally, when you're doing operations like human intelligence, one of the things that we teach is.
Before we get to that, I know you guys are probably sit as you see. What do they teach? Yeah, I definitely think that Tulsi Gabbard is. We all had a lot of hopes for. Well, at least I did. Had a lot of hope for Tulsi Gabbard that she would get in there, speak her mind, and when she, backed down to Donald Trump to concerning what was going on in with the lack of Iran trying to obtain a nuclear weapon. Back in March, she testified about this. Then she backed down on it, and Trump said that Trump said he didn't care what she thought and all this kind of stuff. I don't care what she said. That's what Trump said. I don't care what she said. You don't care what your director of national intelligence said? It's a terrible thing to be in the throes and be guided by other people. Terrible situation.
Don't lie. You can tell facts in such a way that they don't amount to the truth, right? But don't lie, because lies can be caught. And Tulsi Gabbard clearly has never gone to one of these schools, right? It's just
Clearly.
So my first question to you is, one, why do they think attacking Barack Obama is going to work?
Well, because it's the greatest hits, and we've been here before.
Mhm.
Donald Trump installed these people,
Because they're still mad at a black man for becoming president? They're still mad about that?
incompetent sycophants, so they could do exactly what they're doing right now. We all know that he's incompetent, that he's a malignant narcissist, that he represents a clear and present danger to our democracy on every level, and that has played out virtually every week since he took the oath of office again, an oath that he doesn't give a damn about and doesn't care. He is living out his little authoritarian dream, ruining our democracy while he does it. People like Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, all of these people who are wholly unqualified for their positions shouldn't be anywhere near intelligence, national security, the Pentagon, none of these things. In normal times, not one of these people would get anywhere near an approval on a basic security clearance. Not one of them, given their backgrounds.
Quick, Joy Reid made a very good comment, and when I interviewed her a few weeks ago, she said, every one of these people is qualified to have been the spokesman for those departments, but not for the big job.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say that.
Yikes.
Given their backgrounds and given the problems, the ethical problems, Tulsi Gabbard's questionable relationships with Russia and Syria and some of the talking points, right? And Pete Hegseth and his background, like these, Malcolm, to go through a security clearance to get the level of security clearance you would need to even step foot in the door in these cabinet agencies or any of these intelligence agencies, they would forget it. So the fact that these are the people who are making these decisions and that the press treats them as if they're a normal DNI, like, we had James Clapper, okay, who's a legend, who is one of the best in the intelligence business, 50 years of experience. He had that job. And now we have Tulsi Gabbard. Why is she there? Because she's doing exactly what Donald Trump wants. She's going to go and gin up whatever BS evidence they claim that they now have of something that has been already litigated multiple times in the court of public opinion, in the Congress, in the Department of Justice. Robert Mueller did an entire very thorough report on this. And she's going to go and find some conspiracy theory nonsense and go out there and make it look good because she looks good on camera. Let's be honest, Donald Trump cares about that. And present it in a way that makes it sound credible to his base. And unfortunately, the mainstream media eats it up because they want access. So they listen to her instead of constantly undercutting and undermining with facts. Because like I said, we've already litigated this multiple times over and saying, well, where's the proof of that? Well, wait a minute. The bipartisan Senate report that came out that was authored by the current Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, debunks everything that you just said. You know, like there's so many things here that could undermine what she's saying. But you know, they give it airtime because they have to, and Trump knows that. That's why he throws out these bombs of attention, shiny objects. Obama should be prosecuted for treason. Like, this is insanity. But at the same time, it's coming from the president of the United States, throwing out terms like treason, which we all know is punishable by death. It's outrageous, and that's what they're there to do. They're all his henchmen to do his bidding.
Every time I hear this, the first thing I think of is, can these people read?
I know.
Are they actually literate? Because I happen to know that treason is the only crime listed in the Constitution of the United States. And it was narrowly defined. And I said this on one of my previous podcasts, that it was defined based on precisely what happened to George Washington as he was sitting at Benedict Arnold's breakfast table while Arnold was out meeting with Major Andre. And what it says is you have to be levying war against the United States, which Arnold did. Benedict Arnold wouldn't join British forces and fought in Southern Virginia against America. You have to be providing aid and comfort to them, which is also intelligence, but you have to be at war with an enemy. So you can't just say treason is what it used to be before the Magna Carta, which is King's law, which is you have betrayed me, and in my reckoning of it, you are a traitor to me and whatever I thought of 5 minutes ago. These people are nuts. It's not a question of the crime or whatever it is, because, as we know, Barack Obama has every bit of king-like immunity that Donald Trump has.
That's the irony of this, right? It's like, hello, Trump versus United States. The Supreme Court gave him this insane level of immunity, which is just right. I mean,
it wouldn't surprise me if they try to take away the immunity now, retract what they've done, revisit everything. It wouldn't surprise me. I know people are saying that this is a nothing burger. This is nonsense. Yada yada yada. It wouldn't surprise me if that doesn't happen. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Off my coat, because I know we're going to fight here in a minute.
I mean, it gets you riled up, right? For those of us who actually do read and do understand the Constitution and do know the history here and do know the context and do understand what's at stake, it gets you a little excited. Gets the blood pressure up. I should probably be drinking decaf coffee.
You and your education. You need to stop that stuff.
God forbid.
You're spreading it around like a virus.
I know, because Donald Trump doesn't like the poorly educated. So I guess we're treasonous too, because we're educated. But it was Frederick Douglass who said education is the key to freedom. And that's the reason why Donald Trump and MAGA goes after education, to undercut it and to inject propaganda. Because if people are not informed, if you don't have an informed citizenry, you can get away with the shit that he's doing, and that's a whole other conversation. But
every week,
I take education. Let me tell you something. I take education very, very seriously. I take it very seriously, and this ability to read, to comprehend, to understand is really essential and important. And in this day and time, my students continue to use AI, and I continue to blast them a lot. I give them zeros. You're making up stats. You're making this up. They put references in here. I'm like, did you read this reference? It doesn't mean what you put in your discussion board or what you put in your paper is not in this and not in this that you referred it to. So I'm reading it. Did you read it? It's crazy.
I do a radio program on Stephanie Miller Radio Show. She has about 6 million listeners a day for 3 hours. Pretty good show. But one of my favorite parts of that show is she made up a jingle, right?
Everybody loves a good jingle.
From a song, an old 80s song called A New York Minute. And it's called When the Black Guy Did It. So our presupposition here should be that when Barack Obama did everything that was good and decent in America, Donald Trump is now preternaturally predisposed to destroy it. He has it in his head that if the black guy did it, no matter how good it was, how nice it was, he must focus on destroying it. And this has got to be some sort of insane wet dream that he's been having.
Yeah, well, there's a couple things there.
I haven't even watched this yet, but yeah, this is what I'm alluding to. They're still mad about that. His base, him, still mad about that. And to see Barack Obama, I'm not going to pull it up right now, but you can see Barack Obama at Jimmy Carter's funeral trying to be cordial with this guy and looking at him. And this is the one where his wife, Barack Obama's wife, Michelle, didn't refuse to go to that and to, I think, his inauguration, Trump's inauguration. Just sick of this. Just like, I'm not going to go here, yuck it up with this guy, pretend to be friendly with this man, and here's his behaviors. And I, looking back now, I was very harsh on Michelle Obama for not going. I still think that part of her should have gone as a sense of duty and honor, but I certainly can understand it if she didn't want to go because she didn't want to be around this man. I can't blame her for that. Looking back at it now, I kind of get it, because this is what you're dealing with. A man who'll smile in your face, yuck it up, have conversations with you at a funeral, attempting to be cordial, but this is really what he thinks about you. And now he wants to try to at least smear whether he's going to actually have him arrested and prosecute him is another situation. I definitely agree that it won't stick, but who knows? Listen, anything can happen. But the fact that this is what this man thinks of you, harbors in his heart, and the way he moves about in the world is grimy and slimy, and I wouldn't want to be around that either.
The first thing is, you mentioned the pre-Magna Carta, if it's against the king, it's treason, right?
Right.
Donald
Elizabeth
Trump, right? Donald Trump thinks he's a king. He put himself on an AI rendering of Time magazine with the king's crown. Like, he embraces this. That is such an affront to what this country was founded on and why we fought a war and for independence. This is the same guy that also has no idea what's in the Declaration of Independence. Remember when he was asked about that? He has no idea, right? He has no idea, none, about the foundation of this country. So why would he respect it? And he's surrounded now by people who are these enablers / collaborators, and they all, you want to talk about wet dreams, they all, it's a big circle jerk of authoritarian dreams going on here in the West Wing of the White House. He doesn't have anyone in his inner circle anymore like he did the first time around, and that was bad enough. But at least he had people.
This is obviously going to be R-rated here.
there that still respected the rule of law, still respected our democratic norms and institutions. There were guardrails, because the first term could have been way worse. And we know this from folks like Miles Taylor and others who were there, who witnessed it, who came out and said, let me tell you what we had to do to stop this. Those people are nowhere to be found this time around. There's no one. And so he's out here using taxpayer dollars, government accounts, all of these things, breaking all kinds of laws and rules, the corruption, the emolument clause, getting rich off Bitcoin, and all the stuff that launching products with his name on, all of these things, because he thinks he's the king. And all he cares about is that level of loyalty. So
the problem is Congress hasn't done anything about it. And the emoluments clause and all this type of stuff, right? Getting rich and all this name brands and all this stuff. Nobody's doing anything. Nobody is doing anything. That's the issue. This Congress is bought and paid for. They're just a bunch of sycophants.
When it comes to the competent black guy who actually is everything Donald Trump wishes he was, he's thin, he's in good shape, he has a wife who loves him, he's educated, had a successful presidency, he's beloved, you know, and
kids who could actually get into Harvard,
correct,
on their own,
exactly, smart, and they're women, daughters,
well,
Donald Trump, Barack Obama is everything Donald Trump isn't, and we all know that he has a long history of being a racist, and so he's not Donald Trump's idea of what a black guy could be. How could a black guy possibly be, all of these things, and so he's got a weird, but being in his bonnet for Barack Obama, but mainly all the things I just listed, and he is a screaming racist. And this is coming from someone who, I used to be a Republican for 27 years. I quit the party in 2020 after Donald Trump refused to concede the election. I was never a Trumper. I was a never Trumper from the very beginning, from day one. And I, as a conservative, I thought for sure that people would live up to the Bill Buckley theme of, we're supposed to be the ones that yell stop with what.
I thought I recognized that name, Tara Setmayer. She lost a ton of weight. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of her before.
History when no one else will. We're supposed to approach prudence, things with our policy with prudence. We're supposed
of Tara Setmayer before. This is her before. I don't know how long ago this was, but but it always bothers me when black women run around here with blonde wigs on and or weaves or bleached hair. It just bothers me. And this is another picture of her. I believe that's her husband. So looks like she's on a weight loss journey. Good for her. Embrace your blackness. I wish more people would go on a embrace your blackness journey, but whatever. That's Tara Setmayer. I'm thinking I knew I knew that name, watching CNN and whatnot, but okay, we'll continue on with this.
Supposed to be about individual empowerment and accountability and responsibility. I actually believed all that shit. And I actually found out that all of those people run around with their little pocket constitutions like Ted Cruz and others on Capitol Hill when I used to be a staffer up there, they're all full of shit. Because as soon as they saw the opportunity to get on the Trump train, because that was going to be their political, savior, they did it. And principles be damned. And so what we're seeing now is a decay, an erosion of all of those things. And it's bigger than just the party turning into this perverted, authoritarian, fascist party. It's affected our entire country, where we're seeing people snatched off the streets, due process, to hell with that, people getting confirmed to be federal court judges for lifetime appointments that are saying F you to the courts and with whistleblower complaints against them. I mean, all of the things that are going on, and we're just, 6 or 7 months in? Is all because Republicans were too chicken shit to stand up and say no and yell stop athwart history when no one else would, when it was their responsibility to stop this bastard. And now we're all here having to pay the price for it.
Absolutely. Again, the emoluments clause, all the other things that he's doing. We're only 8 months. We're only beginning at 8, not even at 8 months yet as I record this, only 8 months in. No more wars, they're moving subs to nuclear armed subs, announcing it to off the coast of the Ukraine there or in the region, bombed Iran. Now there's all the reports that he's aiming at Burkina Faso. I'm probably saying that name wrong, but yeah, it's just what is going on? Going after former President Obama, and just this dude's on a tear, just on a tear. We're 8 months in. We still got another 3.5 years to go.
But what I'm seeing is, as I saw this party descend into chaos. Look, I started as a Republican back in 1980. I was a Reagan Republican,
Sure.
national security strong. I was Colin Powell Republican, national security strong, socially liberal. Those were two components the Republican Party could deal with back in those days.
Yes.
And if you look at the XY axis, Colin Powell and I are way down in the lower left-hand quadrant of
non-existent
flamingly
now.
liberal, right?
Yes, we're all liberals now, by the way. We're all flaming liberals. I guess George W. Bush, Mr. Compassionate Conservatism. Oh, no, he's a flaming liberal, left-wing libtard, or whatever they call them now, by Donald Trump MAGA standards. I mean, look, Ronald Reagan wouldn't have been welcome in this party.
Richard Nixon created the Environmental Protection Agency and many of the regulations that are being gutted right now. But my point is this. Clearly, oligarchy, right, has taken hold in America to where they are open, they are outright, they are brazen, right? Go get, and to put it in the Cash Money Brothers jargon, go get your money, right? Let's go get our money. I got mine. You go get yours. Here's how you get yours. Literally the characters in Ayn Rand's Fountainhead, right? The government of nepotism and the hookup and gangsters all hooking each other up. The sole function of government in Ayn Rand's book was oligarchy and making money. And she was supposed to be some insane far-right conservative ideologue. And now it's almost like, oh, Fountainhead, that's actually a playbook. This is what we should be doing. Nobody run away to the mountains of Colorado. Don't steal your money.
It's crazy. When I was the vice chair of the College of Republicans at George Washington University, where I went to school, we used to debate the objectivists, right? And they used to walk around with their Ayn Rand books and, have all these debates. And they were all like, the objectivists and then the libertarians and, and the Republicans. And we would all have these like, very highfalutin intellectual conversations dissecting the nuances of these political philosophies. I miss those days, frankly, because all of it was very notional. And, no one ever thought that we'd be living this out in real life. It's quite remarkable and saddening for me. It's very like, I'm like, what is happening? It's not notional anymore. This is what we're actually living through as a country. And Donald Trump I think lack of imagination has allowed a lot of this to happen too. So many people be like, well, he can't do this. Sometimes even I come from a law enforcement family. My grandfather was a World War II veteran and captain of my hometown police department in Paramus, New Jersey for 40 years. Yes, that's where I grew up proudly.
That's where Camp Door is.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm now 17. Indeed. That's where I used to get all my stuff to go to Girl Scout camp. Anyway, so I grew up in blue collar, Bergen County, New Jersey. My grandfather, his parents came over through Ellis Island as German refugees. They didn't say that back then. They came here in the 1920s. Yes. They came over in the 1920s because some things were brewing in Germany. And they said, hell no, we're out of here. And my grandmother's family, they're from Italy. My biological father, his family's from Guatemala. They left when the tanks were coming down the streets in the 50s in Guatemala. So, but I grew up with my on my mom's side. My mom was a single parent. She had me at 21. And my mom was in show business and she lived in New York City. And so I grew up in a very all-American parades every 4th of July. I mean, my grandfather was a volunteer fireman for 72 years. Okay. So all the way up until his dying day, he was part of that community in Paramus. And I grew up with that sense of community, that sense of going to get the paper for him every day and reading it. And, going to the 4th of July parades every year as a kid. He marched in every parade from 1947 until 10 days before he passed in 2016 at 90. The police department literally wheeled him down the parade route because he said, I'm not missing the parade. And 10 days later, he passed. And so this part of what it means to be an American, what it means to respect our constitutional norms and all of those things are ingrained in my DNA. So when I see what these bastards are doing to our country and how they define what it means to be an American and how dare they do what they're doing, it's a visceral reaction. That's why I fight so hard for it. That's why I started the Seneca Project with my co-founder, Michelle Kinney. That's why I'm blessed to have the relationships I have with guys like you who are heroes in your service and what you've done, and you and Malcolm and so many others who have served this country with honor. And then you look at what this administration and what the Republican Party is allowing to happen. It's just an affront to all of that. And I think that's what rallies a lot of us. And
she's blasting the Republicans too, but the Democrats, I don't think they're doing enough. I don't think they're doing enough.
Motivates a lot of us to keep in this fight because it can be exhausting.
But what you just spelled out with your family history. I used to joke when I was married to my first wife, who was French Canadian, that we had a multinational, multilingual, multicultural, multi-ethnic, multi-species, because we had beagles, all American family.
Yeah.
And what is happening now appears to be that we are having a coup d'etat of what America is, what defines America. And the coup is that a certain class of the uber rich and the uber poor, white, lower middle class and white billionaire elite have decided the definition of America is we will not be replaced in any aspect at any part of government. And we will run the government like, let me get this, my analogy right, Pottertown in, that Frank Capra movie from Christmas. It's a Wonderful Life, right? Pottertown, it went from Bedford Falls, which is actually based on a small town near where I live in.
Yes, Seneca Falls.
Is it? Is Bedford Falls based on?
It was filmed there. Yes, Seneca Falls is where the inspiration for the name of our
All right, that's enough of that. You guys can go over and finish watching that. I'm not going to go through the whole thing there, but I just want to hear what they had to say about Barack Obama and the president there. And yeah, so let me know your thoughts, your opinions. And listen, I agree that it's going to be interesting. I think they're going to try. I think that people are kind of not, not really taking this much as serious. But if they're blasting the courts, if they are blasting the courts concerning their refusal to go along with the Constitution, and they're acknowledging that a lot of sycophants have been placed into these positions, federal judges, etc. What's going to happen when if they try to press for arrest? What's going to happen if Tulsi Gabbard continues on with this? What's going to happen? And that wouldn't surprise me in the least. Will it hold up, and will there be a lot of protests and lawsuits and court wranglings and arguments and stuff? Probably. So we're just gonna have to wait and see about this. So let me know your thoughts and your opinions. Hit me in the comment section. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, share, all that kind of good stuff. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Much love and peace.